Hello. Uh, I don't know what happened this morning. I scheduled I scheduled this thing to happen at 10:30. I thought, and then I looked at my watch and it's like 11:15, and I thought I set it so that my reminder would happen right around the same time as the stream, and then I looked at the stream and it was scheduled for 10:30 p.m. somehow. Rookie mistake, I think. Um, but anyway, here we are. We're a little an hour late. Sorry about that. But yeah, I've got some interesting things to talk about. Oh, there's no lights. What's going on with my lights? That's weird. What's going on? That one's on, and this one's on. Are they working now? I don't know what's going on with my lights. They should be coming on automatically, and they're not. I don't know. What? Camera's all crooked again? I'm unable to do anything, am I? No, I'm not gonna do it. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Doors open. My goodness. Yep, an hour late. Oh well. Well, how y'all doing? I've got um, I've got four coffee cups on my desk. All of them with random amounts of cold coffee in them. At least the water's fresh. All right, let's talk about some news stuff. Some of these were pretty interesting, I thought. One I'm very excited about, not really AI related, but I'm still very excited about. So, first thing, and as always, let's go back to this. Um, so who am I? Why am I doing this? I like to include this every time. My name is Matt Williams. I'm a content creator, full-time content creator on YouTube, and I make videos about local AI, mostly focused on Ollama, though that's probably changing more and more. And then I do a daily stream, this stream, every day, 10:30ish a.m. Pacific time. I know it's 11:30ish right now, but 10:30ish Pacific time in the U.S. And yeah, we talk about things that cross my news feed that I find interesting. It's not always the usual stuff that you see for AI news, but I think it's stuff that's pretty interesting. So let's get started with it. First off, is this article about Lionsgate. You know, Lionsgate is this big movie studio or major entertainment company, and they started to work with Runway. Now, some of you know about Runway, runwayml.com. So they'd have all these tools for doing cool stuff with AI and video, as well as images. I think they'll also do audio as well. Some really neat stuff that they do, really neat tools that they offer, and reasonable prices. Let's see. Let's go to their tools. Oh. I remember. I seem to remember one of the first things that they offered was like background removal. Oh, this page looks pretty cool. All sorts of neat things you can do with it. But anyway, oh wow, remove, apply motion. What's going on here? Huh. I'm not sure I see what was different. Motion brush. Oh, it says apply. Okay. Anyway, so um, I got I got distracted by the page I was on. Let's close this off. So Lionsgate has partnered with them to train a generative model based on their existing library of films, and they've got all sorts of interesting films. They include John Wick. Debatable whether it's a good movies, but John Wick, Saw. I don't know if Saw was a hit franchise. Okay, The Hunger Games definitely was a hit franchise. I mean, John Wick, yes, definitely a hit. Was it any good? I don't know. The first one was good, but then it got kind of repetitive. Um, and all sorts of other things that they're working on. So interesting, there have been so many. Anytime we've seen, the movie industry in the news with regards to AI, it's about let's make sure that we protect the actors and AI replicas can't be created without their permission and all of these types of things. And so it's interesting that this studio is kind of in the news for partnering with. Yeah, the first John Wick was great. The last one, I mean, it was boring. I found it so boring. Um, that said, what was the Monkey Man? I think it's called. No, Monkey. Was it called Monkey Man with a movie, not Bad Monkey on Apple TV, but I think it's called Monkey Man. I had seen referred to as Non-Wick, which I thought was funny because it's such a that was imagine John Wick, but with a story that actually makes sense. Though John Wick might be less violent than Monkey Man because that was pretty violent. But it was an amazing film. All right, let's see. So that I thought that was interesting. What else we got? This was pretty fascinating. There are 120 in front of U.S. Congress right now. There are 120 bills that deal with AI. And all over the place. All sorts of bills. Different senators are like pushing these new bills because they sometimes they're actually useful. But one of the ones I thought was interesting was this second one in this list. So apparently this is okay. We can search all the legislation added, all the AI legislation. We can do a search and find the relevant bills. And so I just found this second one pretty interesting. Prohibits the use of federal funds to launch a nuclear weapon using an autonomous weapons system that's not subject to meaningful human control. Which I thought, wait, this is WarGames. This is the plot of WarGames. We have this autonomous system that's going to launch a nuclear weapon. The only thing that seems to be missing from this description is, about the requirement for playing tic-tac-toe to teach the computer that you can't win the game. I as soon as I saw that, I was like, I remember that scene. Which, by the way, so my connection to, I don't really have a connection to WarGames, other than I live on Bainbridge Island. And if you go to the north, let's go to Maps on Google. So I live, let's get this. Okay, so I live on this island, Bainbridge Island. So here's Seattle, here's Bainbridge Island. If you go to the north of Bainbridge Island, up to Hansville, Washington, and you go to the sign, well, there's this lighthouse, Point No Point Lighthouse, but right around here, there is a sign that says, "Welcome to Hansville." And it's written using that kind of old typeface that's, you can imagine it was used for the WarGames title. I mean, and it turns out that I believe it was the scene where they go to Falcon's House to try to convince him to, uh, yeah, to convince him to work to help cancel this potential problem. And that beach that they're on, that's at I'm not sure if it's right at Point No Point but it was in Hansville. That was pretty interesting. So all those types of things were all in this area along these beaches. So that's my connection to WarGames. I think there were probably other things that were filmed around the area, around Hansville and other parts of the Northwest. But I thought that was fun. All right, let's see. Related to that is this article about Gavin Newsom and the California bill. But what I thought was really interesting about this is that apparently, so there's 120 going through U.S. Congress, but there are 38 38 bills dealing with AI just sitting on Gavin Newsom's desk waiting for him to sign. 38 bills that all deal with artificial intelligence. And it was also interesting about how, SB 1047, which has gotten all the news, you thought there's only one bill, but there's a lot of them. It turns out that O1, the new model from OpenAI, I thought this one talked about that. This one just talks about how he's not sure what his what he's going to do. Is he going to sign it into law or not? I thought this one talked about. Oh, maybe I got my articles confused. No, there was another article about OpenAI's O1, and it's this one also from TechCrunch. It was a TechCrunch kind of day. So there's a lot of things that O1 can't do well, and OpenAI admits that. But related to SB 1047, it says imposes safety requirements on AI models that either cost over $100 million to develop or were trained using compute power beyond a certain threshold. Models like O1, however, demonstrate that scaling up training compute isn't the only way to improve a model's performance. And so the thought is that, even if SB 1047 went into law, O1 wouldn't be affected because it's below the threshold for any sort of safety requirement to be in place. And maybe this is a trend going forward, that the days of needing millions and millions and millions of dollars to create a new model, maybe that's no longer the case, and this bill is dead before it's even signed. So, maybe it was short-sighted for policymakers to tie AI regulatory measures to the compute requirements for training the model, which is pretty interesting. Whether or not you believe that it should be allowed, I don't know. But anyway, WarGames, a super classic like Star Wars. Yeah, I mean, WarGames, I love that movie. I've watched it so many times. WarGames, let's see, IMDb. So fantastic. I loved it. With Matthew Broderick, Ali Sheedy, just so much fun. So when did this come out? This came out in, why am I missing? 1983. So I was 13 years old. So I think I probably saw it in the theaters. And I've seen it so many times since then. In fact, I think I watched it again just in the last 2 or 3 months. And I thought it was, I mean, there were some parts that were a little cheesy, but for the most part, it still worked pretty well. Hmm. Yeah, anyway, so that's from Saudi Arabia. Hi, Matt. Hello. I would love to say I speak any or I understand any Arabic, so I can't, but I don't, so I can't. All I know, I, I used to go to Dubai a lot. I would go to Dubai probably 5, 6 times a year. I mean, I know Saudi Arabia and Arab Emirates are different countries, but I'd go to Dubai, and because I'd always do a training class. Where would we do that? I feel like we it was in old Dubai, right by the fort. Um, and so I'd always stay at my favorite hotel in all of Dubai was always the Sheraton Four Points in uh, where Dubai is it? The older part where the market where the that kind of souk area is not the one that's not that fancy souk in what is the like the fancier hotel, but the one like the older one that burned down a few years ago that they rebuilt. Um, and what was great about doing a training in Dubai was that it was the one place in the whole region where you could bring in people from, there were people that would show up from Saudi, come in, people who were sort of local to Dubai. I mean, so few of so few people in Dubai are actually locals, but local people who live in Dubai could come. People from Israel could come in and attend these classes. People from Syria and from all different regions, all different countries all around that region could all come in, and we could all learn together. It was great. Whereas in some other parts of that world, maybe some countries would be excluded because countries don't like each other. But so it was. I used to go to Dubai a lot. I probably I don't know if I mentioned maybe 5, 6 times a year. At the time, I was living in Amsterdam, and so there was a direct flight from Amsterdam to Dubai on KLM. Which was great, a great flight, easy, 4 hours, stay in the roughly the same time zone. Maybe it was one off. And but one time I remember it being a little awkward because we were flying back from Dubai to what time frame was this? This would have been I was at OpenText. Let's see, I left Microsoft in 2004. So I was at OpenText from 2005 or so to 2014, 2004 to 2014. Um, and so it would have been around that time range. I did that travel for like 10 years. And at some point, we were flying back from Dubai, but there was congestion in Europe. Like all of Europe was overly congested. And so they had all the planes kind of start circling wherever they were, without really thinking about where people were. So where we ended up circling right over, right over Baghdad, I seem to remember. Because it wasn't. Was that a direct? Yeah, I think it was a sort of. I mean, planes never, sometimes don't fly in what seem like direct routes, but we were flying, and we did this loop, this circle, I don't know, a dozen times, which and like big circles. You can't really feel the circle, but I was close enough that you could see, the outline of the river that goes through there, and like, oh, I see where we are. Oh my God, this is kind of scary. And the captain had to come on saying, "Don't worry, we're fine. This is not a big deal. We're just being held back. We are well above the altitude where anything dangerous could happen, meaning like surface to air missiles. And so not not a problem. Uh, it was weird. It was weird. But I used to go to Dubai a lot. And most of the time, Dubai was wonderful. Wonderful place to go. I never got a chance to go to Saudi Arabia. I often wanted to. The company I was at, we had a lot of stuff going on in Saudi. So the product I was focused on was called WriteFax, for sending and receiving faxes and email. And yeah. I want to start rag business with Ollama. Awesome. That's awesome. Shall we play a game? Yes. Hi, Matt from Smorty. All right, so that's enough about WarGames, which is completely not what I opened. So anyway, we kind of talked about this one already. Yeah, so we talked about that. Okay, so I didn't really have much other news. I thought this was kind of funny. There have been so many attempts. So this is just some new, I think this is a hacker, or not Hacker News, a Y Combinator company that has a search product for the Mac. And there have been so many of these search tools, whether it's like Google Desktop a decade ago or longer, and many other tools. What was the one I subscribed to? I want to say Neva did it as well, pretty recent, like a year ago. But anyway, there's this company called Selectric. It does, search scans everything on your machine and allows you to ask questions against it. Seems to be doing it all local. Not sure if they're running Ollama for some of the AI stuff or they're using something else that they've built themselves. But looks, I just found it funny because it's like, oh, it's another one. It's attempt number 5,000 or whatever at doing this exact same problem, just now with AI sprinkled on. But it could be interesting. All right, so what else did I find that was interesting? One other thing. Now, this has nothing to do with artificial intelligence. I am just excited because it is my platform of choice. So I saw that Deno, now for those of you, like most of the world probably has no idea what Deno is. A long time ago, will I cover solar? I don't know. I'll come back to that. So Deno was Ryan Dahl created Node.js a while ago, whenever he created Node.js. And then, continued to maintain it and continued to notice all the problems with Node.js and came to not hate it, but wanted to improve it. And he knew that Node.js was at a point where he couldn't make the improvements that needed to get made. And so he left and created this new project called Deno, which is, Node, just moved the letters around. And Deno is amazing. It's an alternate runtime for JavaScript and TypeScript. And Deno 2.0 is finally. I've been going to the web page every few days. Like, is it finally out? Is it finally out? And finally, it's coming out on Friday. So I'm super excited about Deno. You'll notice that in a lot of the videos that I've done, I either do the code samples in Python, or I do it in Node or in JavaScript or TypeScript, usually TypeScript. And when using TypeScript, I kind of bounce around between Bun or Deno. For a while, I was using Bun because it seemed like on their webpage they were suggesting that they're much faster than Deno. Turns out, in some very specific use cases, they are faster than Deno, but in most cases, Deno is a lot faster than Bun. And so I've gone back to Deno. And plus, Deno has the ability of compiling. You write an application in TypeScript, and with Deno, you can compile it for the platform you're on or all the other platforms. So I have a few tools that I posted to GitHub, and I've got a GitHub action that goes ahead and automatically compiles it for Windows and Mac Intel and Mac Apple Silicon and Linux as well. So all those downloads are available. And with Bun, you've just recently been able to compile for the platform you're on, but not for others. And even then, the compile doesn't, like half the time I compile it, it doesn't actually work on a new machine without installing other stuff. Um, and so with Deno, I'm able to compile, and yeah, and it just works on all the platforms. Nothing need to install, blazingly fast. Yeah, if you really time it down to milliseconds, sometimes you'll see that other languages might be a minuscule amount faster, but for most tools that you're going to build, they are amazingly fast, especially compared to Python, but amazingly fast, and there's so many neat features of so much easier to just awesome stuff. So I'm excited about this. All right, so will you cover solar? Tell me about solar. What do you mean by solar? A lot of. Will I cover solar energy? No. Will I cover solar? Is there an AI solar? Solar AI? No, in the solar, and that's not it. Is there a model called solar? I need more detail. AI model? Solar 10. No, this is like back in. Oh, Solar Pro? I was talking Solar Pro preview. So there's a solar model. Okay, so Solar Pro preview. All right, a most intelligent LLM on a single GPU. Anytime somebody says that, I know it's total BS. So with that kind of statement up front, it's probably not true. Come on. A most intelligent LLM on a. Oh, God. Are they just trying to make themselves just. I mean, that's ridiculous. Okay, so large language model, 22 billion parameters, designed to fit into a single GPU. A single GPU that is beyond what most people have in a single GPU. Okay, sure. How big is this thing? And okay, so files and versions. So different architecture, solar for. Oh, but actually, does Ollama already have that supported? So I saw solar was here, like from 9 months ago. Does that have? But that one used the Llama architecture. So now they're using a solar architecture. So that might take a little bit longer to bring over to Ollama. What am I looking for? That's not what I wanted. Solar preview. So it's a sort of a small context. Okay. I mean, it's hard to tell anything about it. Um, sure, they're going to post benchmarks, but benchmarks shouldn't be, it doesn't really mean anything. I don't know. I don't know much. So let's go to the solar preview. The pro preview is not the same. Oh, okay. Sorry. I misunderstood then. Similar performance to 70B. Okay, so not the most intelligent. It's about as intelligent as some other models. Solar, yeah, I was also thinking Solar, SOLR, for like search. What was that with? Solar and Elastic. Wasn't that dealing with Elasticsearch and Solar? Was that part of the same thing? Anyway, so a sneak peek into the full version of Solar Pro. I mean, I haven't. It is, I guess, getting not as much coverage as a lot of other things. So it's interesting that there's another model out there. It would be apparently Ollama is already working on implementing their architecture. Yep, that would make sense. I don't know anything about it. Anytime somebody says this is the best thing, it usually turns out to be the worst thing. So I'm not. I look forward to seeing results from it. I'm not going to hold my breath for it. I'm just going to assume it's kind of. Based on this description, I have to assume it's not really as good as they say it is, and it's probably going to be garbage. No need to make a big fuss. I just wanted to mention. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for pointing it out. I will look forward to. I did see that there are some new on GitHub. There's a release that's not yet, but they've got a kind of a pre-release of 3.11, which there's a couple new models which are already available. I think they've already been available for a little bit of time, like last few days. If I go to newest, so Mistral Small and Reader LM. Oh, here's two other ones I haven't seen: Bespoke Mini Check and Quen25. Oh, some of these. I thought Quen25 was already added. But anyway, so Mistral Small and Reader LM. But what I think most people are going to be extremely excited about is, oh, I thought I opened that. There it is this thing. New Ollama stop command to unload a running model. Oh my God, so many people have asked, how do I get it to stop, to get it out of memory? How do I do this? And the solution is always set the timeout, the how long the model is kept in memory. Set it down to like 1 second or 0 second. I think 1 second, and it'll unload immediately, or almost essentially immediately. And but this is like the thing that people have been wanting for so long. It kind of went. I feel like there must have been a point internally at Ollama was like, fine, we'll add it. Because I feel like it was something that they didn't want to do because for whatever reason. But so I think that this is going to be very exciting for a lot of people. What else was new? Ollama will now show an error when importing a model with an invalid number of tokens in the vocab. Okay, cool. I thought it did show an error. Maybe it's not a very good error. Ollama image. So when using Docker, I can't use Docker with Ollama because I'm all on Macs, and Macs don't have access. Macs with Docker containers don't have access to the GPU because the VM that the container runs on top of doesn't have access to the GPU. So yeah, because there's no Linux drivers for the Apple Silicon GPU, and so that's. But on a Windows system or a Linux system, you do have access to that, and but apparently the container image will start about 5 seconds faster, which is pretty awesome. And Ollama, yeah, I would often see this. Ollama show would show a lot of white space in the output, and so that should be fixed. All right. Is there a way to stop the generation via the REST API? The only way I've found is to completely disconnect and then reconnect. Yes, there is. I thought there was. Because I know with was it Control C will stop, like in the CLI. Control C will stop the generation. And if you're streaming and you stop that request, no, how does that work? Docs. That's in the response. That's for stop words or in the parameters. Looks like I'm just repeating. Okay, so I don't see. I don't know. I mean, I'd probably search through. Yeah, I mean, I mean, I'd probably do a search. I'm not going to do it on here because I'll just kind of fumble around. But search for the bit of code in the client for what happens when you do Control C. Just stop the output. What happens at that point? Because it's going to use the same API that we have access, that everybody else has access to. So figure out what happens with Control C in the client, and you'll see how to do it for your own stuff. But generate. It's funny that these examples I wrote most of these examples, and some of them have been fixed, but some of them still refer to my like models under Matt W or Matt in the for my user on Ollama. Now I go by just M. I would think that would be stateless. So once a chunk is sent, it's out there. You would need to stop requesting. Yeah, I mean, there is a way to stop it. I just don't remember how. What else we got? Cool. All right, I think that's, let's move back to this. What else? What else is there that's interesting? To the docks, Luke. Yes. What else? Any other questions? Questions, comments? I've seen some good comments about Pixtral, which sounds interesting. Can't think of anything else to talk about. That's the LLM itself. Yes. Anytime you ask an LLM about anything that's recent, it's going to make up stuff. Wonder what streaming looks like in Wireshark. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to make sure that you're doing the... I mean, if there's a network connection on the same network card, do you see that? I guess you see that in Wireshark. Or do you have to be on a separate machine? It's been a while since I've done anything with Wireshark. I even have the Wireshark book, which is a weird book. It's the first book that it was some woman that put it out. I can't remember what her name was, and it was a thick, chunky book, and it felt like somebody just printed it on their laser printer on super cheap paper. And then bound it somehow, and that's what got sold. It's like, it feels homemade yet with a professional binding. It was really weird. I've recently tried using function calling with a 7B Llama 3.1 model, and it's actually really good. Function calling using which of the two methods? I'd be curious to know about that. So there's the one that's the kind of the official method, and then there's the older method that was been around for a year. And I found that older one to be, I mean, anyone who's been on these streams for a while knows that I've found the older method to be much more powerful than the newer method, much more reliable. I use it to control a virtual robot in my game engine. Godot game engine. It's free and open source. Yeah, I heard the name Godot. Is it Godot, like the author, or how do you actually pronounce it? Anyway, the new method. I used your older JSON method and it works fine, but I want to use multiple functions, and that works. Okay. I think the older method works great with multiple functions. That's what I've done it many times with, but yeah, all right. I'm just looking at this page for Godot. Wow, cool. I know almost nothing about this. Sweet. Everyone pronounces it differently. Yeah, because there's isn't there an author? Author. Oh, it was a book, Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. I feel like that's pronounced Godot, but I don't know. It's like any of these words that you read and you don't hear it pronounced by anyone else. You don't know how to pronounce it. Hence we have kube control, kubectl, kubectl, all for that same phrase, that same executable for managing Kubernetes. Godot. I like Godot. All right. Well, I think we have reached the end because I've talked about everything I wanted to talk about. And oh, do you know much about? I know lots of things. Do you know much about the functions in OpenWeb? No, I don't. I can't remember if you talked about it in your video. I did not. So functions in OpenWeb. Let's open up my web browser. OpenWeb UI. Open this. Okay, so OpenWeb UI. Oh, well, I guess if you're here, I'll stay. Okay, so I feel like since I did that video, which is a while back now, this whole pipelines thing was added after that. So function calling, I assume is what you mean, was not available. There were a couple other little things that were also in the product that I didn't cover, but I think it's come a long way since I did look at it, and I feel like a lot of the problems that I noted were solved. Functions in OpenWeb UI are weird. They implement so weirdly. Their pipes are even weirder. It looks promising, but most is quite confusing. Yeah, I feel that, I mean, all the different UIs are very opinionated. Oh, and I guess they kind of have to be in order, because Ollama is such an open-ended tool that to come up with, I mean, Misty is very opinionated. But I think for me, it's opinionated in a good way. OpenWeb UI, when I did that video, was generally opinionated in a good way. And then there's other things like anything LLM, which is extremely opinionated for me personally, in a very aggravating and annoying way. And so therefore I never say good things about it, because it is so opinionated in a way that is anti what I want, which is so against what I want. And OpenWeb UI and Misty have done it really well. Another one that does well, I'm going to say something, but no. No need to Wireshark browser dev tools. Oh, of course, yeah. For looking at requests with OpenWeb UI, it's all JSON back and forth. Cool. Another one that's I mean, all the UIs are kind of this opinionated version of what you can do. And what's that one? Page Assist, which was a web browser, or a browser extension, plugin. Anyway, I probably still have it installed. Do I? I can't bring up my menu bar. Oh, I'm on a different machine. I don't have it installed here. I just remembered I had to do something. Hold on. Okay. That's all set. All right. I uploaded all my logseek files, like Obsidian, but worse. And it was super useful. It documents searching was really cool. Oh, uploaded to OpenWeb UI. Oh, you have to upload rather than it just opening the... Is it just a folder of Markdown documents? Interesting. Yeah, I'm all the way with Obsidian. Cool. What's this? Install update. I'll do that later. All right, cool. Well, despite Just Rise and Grind's recent arrival, I think I'm gonna go because there's not a lot of activity, and I need to finally finish that video. I meant to finish yesterday, but I couldn't finish yesterday because other things came up, and I gotta finish that video. Yeah, pure Markdown. Oh no, he doesn't like. Well, I mean, I like open source stuff in general, but I don't feel something needs to be open source in order to... I mean, in some cases, open source does not help. And in the case of Obsidian, it's just so good. It's not... If there's two products and they are... Well, I don't know. I can't... yeah. Obsidian is just great. Ollama app on Android is pretty nice. Okay. Have a good day. All right. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for being here. I always have a great time doing this. I love the chat window. I love seeing everything, especially when I can actually see all the chat messages. For a while there, a few weeks back, it seemed like I would see all the messages for the first half hour and then I wouldn't see anything. So I love so many good things have come out of switching off of, what was it, Riverside and StreamYard and all those other web-based streaming tools. Why did I even waste my time with those things? I have no idea. So much better with this. All right, so thanks so much for being here. I will see you tomorrow. Well, I'm not going to see you. You will see me again tomorrow at 10:30-ish Pacific time, or when I finally upload the video today. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye. End. Where's the end button?